because I ignore my messy hair. So I want to start this off and say, and I will be switching my profile pictures later on today. What I mean by that was the other Sunday, actually. Only I got glammed up. I made a video on, like, Get Ready With Me for multiple reasons. And reason one being the fact that, I just want to get glammed up. Like, that sort of thing is fun. Like, it's fun to just get glammed up sometimes and make me feel like a pop star, like that situation. Reason number two is generally I feel like I'm more confident when I look more like a pop star, when I have, like, glitter all over my face, when I have some, like, fun colored eyeshadow, like that situation, and I'm always confident, but I feel like when I look that way, it's just, like, even more confident, and it's just fun to look that way, like, oh, and reason three was because I, like, never really use, like, my petite and pretty makeup, like, I use on special occasions, and so I, like, went, like, why not, like, and by that, I mean, I used my palette once before that, which was Dream Tour, and then reason four being in ALDC spring thing, and then reason number five was because of the fact that I was doing profile pictures, or because I went, like, if I'm, like, getting glammed up, I'm making the most out of it, and I realized that, like, my Instagram profile picture is kind of old, and my YouTube profile picture is old, so me and my dad, we took a bunch of photos, which was very hard, and I say that getting the photos weren't actually hard, but there was one that was, like, challenging, because it's a really hard dance thing, which is a arabesque on releve. And to get that for a photo is really hard, because I do not have good balance. And holding an arabesque on releve is not easy. And so, like, the fact that I had to not only do it, but I had to hold long enough to get one good photo that's, like, not blurry, like, that was challenging. But also, the part that made, like, taking photos hard was coming up with the actual photo. I wanted each of them to be dance related, and I wanted them to show off something dance related that I can do, like a dance pose that looks cool and it, like, looks good, like, oh, like, this person can actually do this, like, that's cool. And that was very hard. And I say that was very hard because of the fact that I'm the type where this is something that I'm working on, is where I can do so many amazing, like, dance things. But the second it comes to where I can actually, like, figure out whatever dance thing I want, it's like my mind forgets so many of them. Like, it's like right now, I can come up with so many things. I can do this, like, really cool, like very technical ballet jump, or I can do, like, a leap, or a turn, or, like, or this, like, really cool, like, trick thingy that I actually got a photo that might be a profile picture, and it's a really cool thing. So, like, there's this really cool, like, dance pose, where, like, basically, it's like a chest stand. It's like a chest stand, but your feet come on the ground in front of you and you grab them. Now, personally, my dad isn't sure if I'm gonna ever be able to do that with metal rods in my back, but here's the thing. I'm gonna one day try. I'm just not at that level yet. Like, I can't even do a chest stand. So, like, yeah, that situation. So, I came up with, like, kind of something that is also, like, really cool and similar. So, instead of, like, a chest stand and doing that, and that is where I, like, I'm basically, I'm gonna just show you it. Let me, like, it's easier to just show you. Let me sit you down. Wait, let me adjust. Hello. The photo looks better. I feel like that's. Let me plug you in. Like, I mean, it's not like the coolest thing ever, but it's not terrible. Like, so I literally, like, my mind just blanks when I, like, need to come up with a bunch of, like, dance stuff. And I say this is, and, like, I literally, last Tuesday, Natalie let us, like, choreograph, like, the ending to the routine, so we got to, like, show off, like, I do 8 counts, which is 16 counts of our own choreography, and then throw in a little improv if we want, like, at the very end. And the thing was, that was hard. I felt like it was a lot of fun because I love choreographing, and I felt like it was my first time really choreographing. And, like, I'd done videos where I, like, choreograph a routine and, like, teach it to you. But to actually, like, choreograph it and put it together for a dance teacher to watch on Zoom, like, that was my first time more professionally choreographing. And I choreographed for, like, music videos and stuff, that, like, I done, and, like, dance teachers have given me their thoughts. Like, I'll actually, like, DM, like, a dance teacher. Like, I have a couple of them that, like, I have connections, like, and so a couple of them, like, I'll sometimes, like, if I'm not sure about a routine on what the thoughts are, and I'm iffy on it, if it looks good or not so good, so I'll literally video myself doing it, like, I'll sometimes video it a couple of times, to get, like, the best that I have in that moment, and then I'll, like, DM it to them, and get their thoughts, and yeah. So, like, but new profile pictures coming, like, later on today, and that was, like, really, like, it was hard choreographing last week. Don't worry, there is a concept to this video, but I want to explain the choreographing story real quick. It was hard because my mind blanks on so many things. I feel like what happened is I get so much in the zone, and I get so caught up in, like, doing kind of what I do all the time, but, like, the stuff that, like, I guarantee know, like, I can do this, and I do it really good. So, I feel like I never push myself to, like, when it comes down to, like, improv or something, I don't throw in things that are more challenging for me, like an arabesque on releve and stuff. So I'm literally, like, I'm working on, like, fixing that, because coming up with the photo concept, like, immediately I had one, which was a nice oversplit with a dance block and my fold-up mat, a nice oversplit that's simple and good, and it shows off my, like, flexibility improvement and stuff like that. And good. No problem. I attempted to, like, do, like, the trick with the dance hammock, but I kept doing it wrong. And so I, like, decided I'm not using those 2 photos. We did 2 photos on that because the first one I did it, like, wrong. Like, massively wrong. And the second one, I still did it wrong. And so I just gave up on that, like, photo. I went like, nope, we're trying something else. And we attempted to do a photo that was going to be really cool, but we physically couldn't. And what the photo was going to be was, like, my dad put my feet up against the wall. Like, I was doing a handstand up against the wall, but I didn't have to, like, kick up. My dad just put my, like, grabbed my, like, feet and, like, put them up against the wall. But the thing was, I kept getting so close to the wall, all that, like, the wall was, like, pushing me, like, almost like I was gonna fall out of it. Like, so, that was, like, a massive, like, fail. But for today's video, first up, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. And so now I'm gonna try to, like, think more outside of what I always do with, like, that sort of stuff. So, like, for today's video, I want to talk all about, like, dance, that situation, because there's so much to talk about, like, there and stuff. Like, I feel like it's insane. At Nor, my pit bull, I'm about to fix it, okay, with Petite and Pretty. Petite and Pretty is amazing. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just generally love their stuff. Like, my skin, like, loves the skincare set, and, like, I, like, so much. Like, if I go, like, I usually use it, like, once a week on, like, usually on, like, Sunday. And it is now Tuesday, and I have not used it this week. I'm gonna. But, like, if I, like, wait until, like, Monday or, like, Tuesday or anywhere after Sunday, and my skin got into the point where it will physically, like, immediately if I wait, and I'm guaranteed, like, a pimple or something. Like, my skin, and the second I use the skincare set, my skin, like, immediately is like, yes. And, like, sometimes the pimple's gone, like, the next day or something, like, but I feel like, for me, I want to talk about everything, like, all of the things I accomplished in the last year, and just kind of all the things that, like, I have, in a way, helped me in my career and stuff, and just some of the really cool things. Like, I will say, I started just knowing, like, I want to, like, become a pop star one day. But I literally, it started kind of, it was multiple, like, elements being put together. And what I mean by that is, and my crush had never pushed me to sing at music class so many times. Like, I know, I look back on it, and I'm like, in those moments, I did not want to do it. I don't know why. I was like, I don't even know. Like, I'm just, like, look back on it, and I'm like, I don't really know why I was terrified in those moments, but I was definitely terrified, and I felt like the last time, like, I want to say, yeah, I think it was the last time. I could be wrong. We went through this so many times. The last time was probably the worst. And I'll say that due to that one kind of makes sense. Which was, there were a lot of people at music class. We had a guy assistant, and I didn't really know him too well. And it was like I kind of knew him, but, like, not that well. And also, like, I'm shy. And especially around guys that I have, like, never met and stuff. And that was something that I'm going to actually tell you the little story behind that. I actually stopped going to music class for, like, a couple weeks in a row because of him. And like, if he's watching this, I'm sorry. I, like, do not want you to, like, blame yourself for things. It was that I was generally shy, and, like, life happens. And so, like, I literally, like, music class, I stopped. I, like, literally how it started. We went one week, we found out about the guy assistant. Well, we saw him, we didn't really know what was going on because I didn't go in that day. And, like, I'm thinking, like, oh, like, next week, like, I'll go in. well, the next week we found out that he was a new assistant, and then that kind of just happened for a couple of weeks, and then finally my dad, like, kind of could tell, like, he instantly could tell that, like, I wanted to go in, but I also didn't, like, it was a back and forth situation, and I thought of, like, one solution, like, now looking at, like, there was, like, one idea that at one point I had, like, why didn't my dad just do that? And then I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, I'm happy he didn't do that. And what I mean by that was the obvious solution, I feel like, was to easily, only here's the thing. This sounds creepy and stalkerish, but it's kind of not at the same time because, and I'll explain the solution, and that I thought was the obvious one. I'm happy it didn't happen because, like, I'll explain. And the solution, and that, like, I thought was, like, the obvious one at one point was to just, like, kind of creepy, not creepy, stalkerish, like, wait until my crush showed up one day, and then, like, I get out of the car and tell him what's going on. And now that sounds creepy and stalkerish, but that's not because multiple reasons. Number one, we know my crush very well. I feel like pretty well. And also, we know his grandparents both equally as well. That was like to tell him what's going on and say, hey, like, Wally's a little scared to go in. Owen, can you go in with her? Like, that. I'm happy that didn't happen because I feel like I would have just been embarrassed. But, like, I don't know. But finally, my dad one day went and told the music class teacher what was going on. She came out and, like, I just kind of talked to me and said, you don't have to interact with him. And then I went in. Because I literally, and I say this, at the time, I was generally thinking about quitting, but I never quit, and that was because I knew I could not quit. I knew and that, like, if I quit, there was a chance that I was probably never gonna see my crush again, and that was not gonna, no. So yeah, I did not quit, and I don't really know my crush ever found out about that or not. Like, fun fact, there's actually a story that I'm going to kind of quickly tell you. Like, a real quick story about, like, the debate. So, like, a double decision. It was a decision I had to make one day where we found out, like, this one week the guy assistant was, like, taking over for, like, this one week. The music class teacher was on a vacation, like, he was going to take over, and I, like, at that point had been going in a couple of times, and we waited in the parking lot for, like, 45 minutes, because the whole class is an hour, and what had happened was my dad walked in, he came back out after a minute, and went, like, here's the deal, and I'm like, what? And he's like, I instantly, and my dad says, here's the deal, to me, I know I'm not gonna like what's next. So he literally told me, he went like, the guy assistant is taking over, the music class teacher's on vacation. And do you want to go in or not? And I'm like, I don't know. And then like 45 minutes, like, we saw my crush go in at one point. And I'm back and forth on this decision. Like, part of me just wants to get up and leave. And then part of me wants to go in to see my crush. And it was like I was finally going to tell him. And, like, that's a tip I'll say. If you like someone or you have a crush on someone, tell them. Just tell them. Don't make the mistake I did. Like, don't make an excuse of, like, I'll tell them later. Like, tell them. Even if it doesn't end well. Even if it ends where, like, you completely destroyed the friendship there or whatever was there. I don't know your life. I don't know you. So, well, some of you I know because some of you are family. But, like, if you like them, tell them. Take the chance of, like, potentially, like, if you were friends, potentially destroying that friendship. Or, like, if you were, like, on good terms. Like, anything. Because tell them. You will regret it later. Or because what will end up happening is you will continually make excuses, or at least that's how it worked for me, on why you're not telling them. And then it will be too late. And then, yeah, it will just be too late. Sorry, I'm like, that's something that I always tell Pella. I'm like, if you like someone, tell them. And I say this because of the fact that, like, Bella's young. Like, she's very young still. Like, but at the same time, sorry, I just realized something. I keep thinking Bella's 10. I think she's 11. I'm gonna have to find out from her on that because I feel like she's 11. And Bella, if you're watching this, if you're 11 years old, sorry I keep thinking you were 10. But if you're 10, then great. Like, great either way. I'm not sure on that, okay? And my life has been busy this year. I'm like busy trying to keep up with like balancing out school, balancing out chore, or like I'm taking time to like stay clean, like a bath or something just nice to like reward myself for keeping up with everything. And then keeping up with training to be a pop star, posting on social media, and eating, and sleeping. Just everything. Like, I'm balancing out everything, okay? And sometimes my life just gets busy with training to be a pop star. And that's okay. But, like, I ended up, like, after 45 minutes, like, I was, like, it seemed like an easy decision. It was not an easy decision in that moment. And then finally, after 45 minutes, like, my dad, like, he wasn't getting mad because he understood the situation. And my mom, like, didn't because, well, she didn't know I had a crush. Even though I had a crush for, like, years before that. But, like same person, you know, like. And so finally, after 45 minutes, my dad told me, he went like, why don't we go home and like play a game? I'm like, Uno or something. He's like, we'll come back next week. And then I went like, okay. And it wasn't him, it was him making the decision for me because I continuously told him, like, I need you to make this decision. And he's like, no, you're gonna make this decision. And then finally, 45 minutes later, he knew that we were never going to get to a decision being made. So after 45 minutes, he made the decision. And so, yeah, and then we got home, and because my mom didn't understand the situation, because I didn't tell her I had a crush yet, and yeah, and because, so she, like, mistook the situation, not knowing all the information, and I got home, and literally I walked in and said I didn't go in, the guy was teaching, and I just didn't go in. And she, like, got upset at first. First about, like, you wasted gas money and that sort of thing. And then my dad was like, you might not want to go hard on her. And my mom's like, why? He's like, you'll find out eventually. Like, and then after that, like, and I was upset with myself over I couldn't make this one decision. It seemed like such an easy decision. Either I go in or I leave. Like, so I was just upset with myself. And then finally, my mom eventually found out, like, well, actually, no, I don't think she ever found, But, like, after that, she, like, didn't, like, say anything anymore to me about it, and acted like it was no big deal. And then she eventually found out I had a crush. I was, like, it took, like, I want to say, at least another 6 or 7 months, but she found out. So, yeah, that was, like, a little thing. And then, yeah, I don't think she ever realized, like, what happened that day, but, like, yeah, because we had, like, the car running and stuff, like, so, yeah, but the last time I feel like I ever sang at music class, like, I'm not sure this was the last time, or this happened, I'm not sure if it was the last time, but it did happen, where basically, like, we had the guy assistant. I had never sang in front of him. I never even really spoke in front of him. And, like, it was not me, like, trying to be rude to him on, like, not coming in. It's just, in that moment, that's what happened. And stuff. Like happened. And then on top of that, a lot of people at music class, and like I want to say we had like 2 other assistants at the time, so like a lot of people, and I just did not want to sing. And I'm like, it seemed like too much in that moment, like, and it's not the fact of like, here's the thing, it was never a fear caused by something, it was never a fear of like, oh, there's a lot of people, oh, people won't like it, like, the fear was caused by absolutely nothing. Literally nothing. Like, it was literally, I don't even know if it was a fear. Like, it was just something that, like, it wasn't caused by anything. I would freak out kind of in my head before I would sing. I wouldn't even sing in my room by myself. It was like, I don't even know what to say, like, situation. And then, oh wait, I'm trying to think back on something. I'm not exactly sure, but I remember us, like, going, like, outside and doing some, oh no, what had happened was the music class teacher, like, asked me, she's like, are you gonna sing part of Let Go? And I'm like, no. And she's like, okay. Like, she just took, like, she literally just said, okay, and moved on, like, no big deal. My crush, on the other hand, was not, he wasn't going down that easy. Nope. That was not happening that easy. If I was not going to sing, he was at least going to try to convince it to a yes. So, like, he came up to me and then, like, immediately after, don't know how he heard, because I, like, whispered it, like, I was very shy and quiet, and, like, and he was on the other side of the room. I genuinely think, and he heard her, like, ask me that, and then he was, like, actually trying to, like, listen in. I don't know. If I ever find him one day, I'll have to ask him how he always knew. Like, because somehow he always knew. He came up to me and went like, I heard you're not singing part of Let Go. And I'm thinking in my head, wait, how did he know? Like, he was on the other side of the room. I whispered it. She barely heard me. And she was like 2 feet away from me, like, but she like heard me, you know, so like, and then he went like, come on, do it, and I'm like, I didn't say anything, he was like, come on, you're really good at it, like, do it for me, and I'm like, finally, he like pulled his normal, like, everything he could think of to convince me, and somehow I didn't even realize I had said yes, but apparently at some point in that conversation I said yes. And the thing was, I don't even think I was aware of the fact that I said yes until he went over and told the music class teacher, he's like, she's doing it. And I'm like, wait, what? And then it registered in my mind. I just said yes without even being aware of the fact that I said yes. And then we went to do something outside because they had like a playground set up outside. And then later we went to like do something outside. I forget, it was some form of outside like game or something. And then I'm gonna make a part 2 to this video. But like what had happened was we come back in, and to make the whole thing worse, or out of nowhere my crush later said, "And guess what Lolly can sing" in front of like the waiting room with a couple of parents and stuff and his grandfather. And my dad's like, "Do you want me to go in?" And I'm like, "No." And like my dad understood. I was kind of being rude when I said no, but like I just gave him the look of like, "No." I did apologize, don't worry. Like, I'm a good kid, and he understood. And then all of a sudden, like, I somehow make it through. I look up, because I was looking at the floor the whole time. I generally think me and my crush did something that day. Like, I think he, like, joined me or something, but didn't actually sing. He did some form of dance or something. I don't know. And then one thing led to another to where, like, I don't really know. But one thing, like, I look up, and at the top of, like, the stairs was his grandfather. Like, that was just, like, so it started with singing, and then I took dance classes, and I'm gonna make a part 2.